Hey guys, this is Locke. In this video, I'm going to provide a step-by-step guide on how to do the Weaponry Trials level number 2, level 70. This is going to be a little different from your typical guide, simply because I'm not actually showing you a walkthrough. Instead, I'm going to tell you how to do it. And the reason I'm doing that is because I've already actually done maybe like 2 or 3 different playthroughs of this level 71 with different units. And some players have still told me, hey, I don't know how to do it. Like, I can't use those units, or some part of it is not working. Like, it's really difficult. Another guide would be helpful. And I think it's going to be really difficult to make one playthrough where a lot of people can do it because everyone has different units, right? One person said they're using the same units that I am, and they're still not able to do it because one part of it is not working, like Angel keeps dying or something like that. So I thought I would do a general guide, but take it from the very basics. Like, this is exactly what you need to do. If you don't do this, don't even go to the next step. You know what I mean? So this is going to be a very like elementary kind of uh, walkthrough that's going to talk about exactly what you need to do. So the first thing you need to do is make 2 of your units survive the boss's attack. Like at the very beginning, he's going to attack 2 enemies and do 100% physical damage and also inflict healing down. Okay, that part is usually probably one of the hardest parts in the beginning because a lot of people already have this Papal Guard, and that guy can survive no problem. But then you usually don't bring a second tank, right? So since you're not bringing a second tank, like if you do bring a second tank, you don't have enough DPS. So what do you do? So I'm going to show you this build that I have right now and how I'm going to change it to make Angel survive. So I'm just going to I'm just going to make this go, and I'm going to show you that it's not going to work. And then the next time I'm going to show you what I'm doing to change Angel so that she's able to survive this. So this is typically what I do, and you will see that Angel did not survive. She took 7.9k damage, like 8k damage, right? But the guard survived no problem. So let's go back. Let's see what we can do to fix this. Because if we don't fix this problem, we can't really proceed. So Angel, I mean, this is typically the Angel setup or a healer setup. You can actually use any healer because her reaction is not even being procced, right? In this stage, if you do not have 5 buffs or more, your reactions and your passive don't count. They get cancelled out. So this passive doesn't count for her, and this reaction also doesn't count. So so you can use any healer. Like before, I used to use Angel for the other stages because I was like, oh, she can survive this because she takes 30% less damage with her protection of light. That's no longer being applied. So instead, you have to bring gear that's going to reduce the damage. So the gear that I use is one second while I find it. This one. So it's physical damage. So she's going to take 30% less damage. The cooldown doesn't matter because she's only going to get hit once. And then I'm also going to give her this one. One of these that are the best for her. This one has some M attack, so I'll give her that one. So this one. So she has 20% damage decrease here and 30% physical damage less here. I can also change the resonance if I really want to as well, but I find that this is enough. So you will see with just that difference, she's able to survive this. So I'm just gonna show you here because somebody asked me, like, they're like, I'm using the exact same gear, but my Angel doesn't survive. Okay, she survived. That's good. She has a little bit of HP, 751, but that's enough. That's all she needs, right? So that's exactly the change I did. I didn't do anything else. Before I thought, okay, maybe it was like my butterfly was giving her extra buffs or something, and she was able to survive, or she had the flag. But there's nothing else. That's the exact gear I used. And to be completely transparent, I think I will also show you my talents because maybe I have a lot more talents than you or something, and maybe that might cause you to fail. So let me just take a second here right now to just show you the bonuses of all my talents so you can compare if that's what is causing mine to survive. I don't think it is though, because the person who told me that, they said their Angel was taking like 7k damage. So I don't think the talent difference is going to go from like 7k to like 4.5, right? I think there's something missing. Maybe like maybe uh, this thing is not, it doesn't have the additional damage decrease effect, or maybe using a different card, like a different tarot. I don't know, but So, you have to do that. You have to be able to have two characters survive. I'm also going to talk about replacements for, oops, let's go back here. I'm also going to talk about the replacements for the shield guy, Pepple Guard, because you don't actually have to use Pepple Guard. You can use someone else as well. You can use other tanks. I know a lot of people have Cocoa, so I actually recommend using Cocoa, but you have to have the cooling powder. If you don't have the cooling powder, Cocoa is going to die on the next turn. So if you're using Cocoa, keep cooling powder on, and you know after the boss attacks, you can heal. You can heal with Angel or Cocoa, and then the boss attacks again and again, and Cocoa is fine. She survives because you know she's a pretty good tank too. Cocoa is actually preferable because this guard, all I do with this guard is just keep him down here. Maybe if there's like these guys around here, he can attack them. But otherwise, he's doesn't really contribute to the fight at all, the Pepple Guard. With Cocoa, she can actually like roam around here and provide team-wide buffs, right? And she can also provide extra healing if you need as well. So Cocoa is definitely preferable, and I know a lot of people did pull for her. So, I'd recommend actually making that switch. If you have Cocoa, do that. One other note I want to make is if you have, where did she go? Oh, she's probably up here somewhere. If you have this guy, I'm looking for Inanna. There she is. You can use Inanna's guard to take the damage as well. I don't know why this works, but it seems to work. So you put this guy over here, make sure he survives, and then you put this guard over here. And for some reason, this works. Like that guard dies, but the boss doesn't get a second turn. So you can do that. And again, this is also preferable. Like I'm showing the basic units, but I'm also showing the upgrades as well. So if you have Inanna, I recommend that you use Inanna instead of Angel, because first of all, it sets this easily. And because of this, now Inanna doesn't actually need the tank gear anymore. She can just go full healing, so she can provide better healing to your team, right? So once that's done, right, once you are able to have those two units in place to take that damage, then we need to talk about how we're going to DPS the boss. That becomes the next part. So in this stage, not only do you have to do a lot of damage to this boss, you also have to kill these things, because if they explode, they're going to do AoE damage and probably wipe out your team. And this stage might be the most challenging one of the three, because there are some turns where you might not be able to do damage. If you're using melee characters, you might, like you're attacking here because they're melee, they're only attacking from like close by. But one of those turns, the boss does a lot of damage to these three squares, so you're either like over here, and your melee guys are not doing any damage that turn at all. So that might be like maybe 4 turns out of 15. So it drastically reduces the number of turns where you can do damage to this boss, right? So, that's one of the problems. And one thing you can do to solve that problem is actually bring range guys that do AoE damage. Ballista is a great unit for that. So he has 2 skills. He has the siege skill, and you can actually see, let me actually show you the other skill. Okay, so let's take a look at this skill. It says right here at the bottom, ranged. So when you attack with the skill, it's a ranged skill. The boss is going to attack Ballista back. But if you use this skill, this actually counts as an AoE. So it's not a ranged skill. You can use this skill and the boss is not going to attack you. Same with this one. It's a ground skill. AoE skills and ground skills are not tagged as ranged. So you can actually use these skills against the boss and they're not going to do anything. They're not going to hit you. So one tactic that you can do to make sure you keep up with your damage is to keep a unit like Ballista on this square, or on this square once you clear this, and attack the boss from there. And you can do that now every turn. Like if you're using I have to use a Callista to get the skill, but you can use this every turn. It costs you 2 energy, and in the build I'm going to show you, you're going to have 2 energy every turn. So you are going, you can use this every turn, and now you don't have to worry about those, 3 or 4 or whatever turns that you're missing, where you have to move all your melee units away. Another really, really good unit that you can use for this is Beryl, because Beryl has a skill that you can spam and do this. I just need to find Beryl. There. So Beryl, you can use this skill, boom. Like it does so much damage, and you can use it every turn or every other turn or something like that. You can use it like really, really often, and it does a lot of damage. You need 5 what is it called? 5 energy, which might seem like a lot, but you actually are going to be generating a lot of energy. With her, I mean, with this build, she's already getting 3 energy, right? Because from this she gets 2. She naturally gets 1, so that's already 3. From her trait, she gets 1 more, so that's 4. And then from the flag, so the flag, I recommend using this flag. It's going to give you buffs as well as extra attack, extra defense, as well as give energy as well and reduce cooldown by 1. So with all that, like, she's basically getting 5 energy every turn. I think the trait has a chance to not proc, so in those turns you get 4 energy, otherwise you get 5 energy. You can also use, if you're using Cocoa, you can use Cocoa to give her 1 energy for those turns. She has this one, Ancient Potion, which gives 1 energy. You might also bring other units that give energy as well. So those are 2 really good units that I recommend, if you have them, to use them. And Ballista is actually really useful for every single weaponry trial, 1, 2, and 3. So if you're just thinking, oh, I don't want to build them just for this weaponry trial, if you have not done the other 2 weaponry trials, you can use them to great effect in those ones as well. And I'll be doing a guide on all 3 weaponry trials at some point, hopefully soon, but I am a bit busy this week. But anyway, so we'll see when I get those done. But I wanted to at least do this one. Okay, so that's one thing you can do. A lot of people in the other levels have used this Outlaw Guard to, wherever he is, I need to find the guy here, have used this Outlaw Guard on this boss to be able to debuff his attack. So, every single turn, at the end of the turn, Outlaw Guard automatically applies this debuff. So the attack is already reduced, the boss's attack, by 20%. So they've been able to use that to also survive this. For me personally, for this stage, you need so much DPS because the boss has 214k HP, and if you want to 3-star it, you need to finish it in 15 turns. And the first turn, usually you don't really do damage. So you have 14 turns to do 214k damage. That's about 15k damage, actually over 15k damage a turn, which is, it's hard, especially on some turns if you can't do any damage. So for that, I would prefer not bringing this guy and instead bringing another DPS. So that's the reason why I didn't take him into account to try to survive. I can do that, and I can kind of build it with just Angel, and this is all I kind of need to be able to survive, make sure Angel survives. She is going to get hit with the healing reduced, or no healing, so she can't heal herself for X number of turns, but that's not really a problem because after this first, she shouldn't be getting hit anymore after that. So yeah, so I mean, so now you have to build your DPS. Again, I talked about having 1 ranged AoE damager like here. You also need to start clearing these guys out. So the other DPS that you bring, like the melee kind of DPS that you bring, it's a good idea to at least bring 1 person that can clear out these crystals that with AoE. So examples of those are, for example, Rwaya. She can do that with this skill, Gale Spin Attack, which does basically 100% of her attack. And because when she's doing that, she can, if she's standing in this spot right here that I highlighted, she can attack both these crystals and the boss. So while she's clearing these crystals, she can also still do AoE damage. This was one person I wanted to highlight because it's given for free to everybody. So it's a strong character to bring for the situation. Other characters include Nono, who is able to do 1,000 blades. You can do Gloria, who has a couple of attacks. The flag is one. The other one is that sword attack, which also has a range of 2 and does AoE. August is an interesting choice as well because his this skill becomes an AoE in the second stage. In the third stage, it's really hard to do AoE damage with that one because you target one and it's only 1 range more from that you attack other things. But 1 out of every 3 iterations of this skill has an AoE. And in the right build, you can also bring this one. Devastation to also do AoE damage as well. Like, you don't even have to have the Rage Outburst, because when you have the Rage Outburst, you're stunning enemies. But in this stage, there's nothing you can stun. You can't stun the boss, you can't stun those crystals, so you just want to do the damage, right? So these are all really good characters that you can bring to do the damage. On one of the iterations that I did, I used Ballista only to clear these things. So he would use a siege, he would stand over here, or here, here, or here, wherever he needs to attack these crystals, because usually they're just in, around here somewhere. So he would just stand in those iterations, and I can provide you the links at the bottom of this video where I've done clears and I've used the strategies that I'm talking about here to be able to clear these things. So every 2 turns, he's able to use the siege thing, and it completely wipes out those things. So in a team build like this, right, you have your Papal Guard to take the damage from the boss when he does the single target damage. You have your healer. You have this guy whose only job is to clear the crystals, and he can do it just by himself. And then now you have 2 more DPS that are focused on attacking the boss. These could be Beryl, for example, Beryl and Ravaya, or actually it can even be single target damage. I think I did one iteration where I used only like non-legendary characters except for one single DPS, which was, I believe, Garcia. And Garcia, it was just doing normal, like not normal, but single target damage, and I was able to beat it. And I'm pretty sure that was the composition I used. I can link the video at the bottom of this. So these 2 slots are basically just to do damage. You can also bring characters that have dual what is it called, jobs. One such character is Butterfly, because Butterfly, with the right build, she can actually do quite a bit of damage. Like, look at this. Like, okay, she is level 60, but she has 3000 attack, and she has quite a bit of crit in her build, and she is able to apply 2 buffs. So remember, if you have a lot of buffs on the field, you're also going to be taking, like, your passives don't get negated anymore. So she's able to provide buffs. She's able to do a bit of damage, like 100% of attack when she has 3000 attack, and she's able to heal. So because you're bringing Angel, and your Angel doesn't have the typical healing gear, right? She has the defensive tank gear to be able to survive the first hit. You might want to bring a second healer, but you can't just bring a straight up healer. You can't bring Inanna and Angel, for example. Or, well, if you're bringing Inanna, this doesn't apply. But you can't bring Samantha and Angel because you need your DPS. But you can bring a dual character like Butterfly, or a really good character to bring actually is Flare. But I haven't leveled my Flare. She's somewhere here. There he is. So Flare is really good because if you're including Flare in a team with Ballista, you can also bring the Battle Flag of the Union to give Ballista an extra 10% attack. And of course, Flare's attack also increases by that much. But Flare is really good because you can do this one, the Blessing Healing, which heals everyone by 30% and removes debuffs. And you can also do this one, which you can use every turn. So every time Flare's attacking, you're also able to heal everyone around you, especially the melee characters around Flare. That's going to benefit from the side healing, because there is quite a bit of damage that the boss does with the AoEs. So a lot of people do get hit, and you have to keep constantly healing. That's one of the reasons why I like the flag more than using Warhorn, because the flag is able to give everyone extra energy. So that means your healer of choice, whether it's Inanna or Angel, can use their 2 energy heal every turn and not run out of energy. So that's really great. So what else? Yeah, so that's what I recommend building. So you can use one of your DPS could be a partial DPS, like for example, Flare or Butterfly, if you feel that you don't have enough healing in your build because you had to make your healer be a semi-tank. So if you don't have enough healing, you can do that. And whatever your last character is, must be a really strong single target, or even AoE, whatever, but must be a really, really strong damage dealer. It could be somebody like Gloria, which a lot of people have, or August, which also a lot of people have. Sophia is one that I do not really recommend unless you have maybe like a 4-star Sophia or something. But Sophia doesn't work as well for a few reasons. One of the reasons is because her blade chase, you have to turn it off. So already, like, this is dealing extra damage in like every other stage, but in this stage it unfortunately doesn't help so much, so you have to take this one off. And then if she is less than 4 stars, right, so if she has 3 stars, her mark only lasts for 1 turn. And because it's only lasting for 1 turn and her speed is 179 and the boss's speed is 150, there's only a limited time where the mark is active. So if the boss's speed was slow, like say it was like 50, just as an example, or if we have some way of slowing down the boss, then Saphia would be great to bring, because you can put the commander aura on her to increase the attack of everyone. So every time anyone's attacking, they're doing like 15% more damage to this boss. So that would be fantastic. But if your Saphia is 4 stars, less than 4 stars, so 3, 2, or 1, then it's going to be really hard to get this mark to stick. And you can't really use this skill either, because this agent at the end of the turn does a attack to the boss, and that counts as a ranged attack. So the boss is going to attack right back, and then it's going to do an extra AoE that you don't really want to deal with. So you can't really use this skill to mark the boss. You have to go something else. So after then, you're looking at it and you're like, well, what can I do with Saphia? The only thing you can really do with her is to bring her and use this one, the Army Bane Blade. But to me, that would be just like bringing any other character that can do like a high modifier skill. Like you have to turn off all the really cool things about Saphia, like this one and this one. So why are you bringing her now? Like her, if you have nothing better, I mean, then you have to bring her. But if there's a better choice, it's advisable to use other strong options. Even Garcia is not a bad damage dealer at all. I was able to do this with her as my main damage dealer before, especially if you have her at 3 stars. Then she's able to build up her stacks and do quite a bit of damage with her with the execution time skill. Okay, so let's talk about tactics for a second. So some people use the Warhorn, and they use this to get those turns where you're going to do a lot of damage to the boss at once. And other people use the Flag of Convaleria. There is no right way. You can do either one. I feel like if you're using Warhorn, you probably have units that are really good, so you can take advantage of the one turn that you can do a lot of damage. There are clears that people have beat this boss in like 3 turns with the Warhorn. So, like I think this is more of an ability that's more geared towards players that are not having as much difficulty. Like they're able to do a lot of damage very quickly to take advantage of this, right? This one I think is more consistent. And if you are going to use the Flag of Convaleria, I still recommend you bring the Warhorn, because at the very end, like on your 15th turn or so, you will have enough energy left not to cast the flag, but to cast this. And even if you could cast the flag because your talents are higher than mine, maybe, there's no point in using them on the 15th turn. Like you have, the battle's done. You have one last turn, right? So use that last turn to use this and do as much damage as possible. In my last clear that I did with August and Nonowil, I mean, I had more than enough damage to kill the boss in the last turn with August's normal attack, but I used Warhorn anyway at that video, just to show this is where you would use it. Like if you're missing damage, this can easily add like another 20k damage on that last turn when you need it to count, because you want to beat it at that point, right? So so that's it for this guide, honestly, because I feel like that should hopefully give you ideas on how to do this. And I have, I think, 3 videos that I did of the, maybe it's like 2, I don't know if it's 2 or 3, of the level 70 clear with a couple different teams. And then I also did one on my alt account, a level 60 clear, but using only level 35 units. And you can see even in that one, like a lot of it is similar. The only thing that's different is now these crystals, right? But in that video, I used the Outlaw Guard, so I was missing a DPS. So I used the Outlaw Guard before to reduce the boss's attack. So instead now I'm using Ballista to clear these crystals things out. So I still have 2 DPS in either one, right? So And I also used August in it, so you can maybe also look at the turn rotation that I'm doing with August. Because of his skills, you can get a lot of extra rage from him. If he uses Hassle and he's injured, which means that he has less than 70% health, which actually often happens. Like after one AoE, his health is usually less than 70%. You can use Hassle to gain 3 stacks of rage, and you also get a damage 2 buff as well. So that's like, that's a lot of damage, and that's an extra that'll let you easily take many more turns with a gust to be able to output quite a bit of damage. For me, I was very surprised to be able to do it at level 35, but I only did it because of the number of turns and damage output that August was able to give. So yeah, I mean, hopefully that helps you, because I don't know how else to help you in a way, because I mean, I can probably even do like a video showing you how to do this again, maybe with, actually I think I already did, but let's say I show you a video of how to do this with only like common units, or like not legendaries, except for one legendary damage dealer. But the problem now is like the game has got into that stage, like mid kind of stage, where people have units, like you might not have the exact same unit as someone else, but you probably have a like decent damage dealer, maybe better than Rawaya, right? So if I'm like, what's the point of me trying to show you, well, this is what a free to play player who has no units is going to show you, when like most likely you have something. So that's why I'm trying to talk about the most commonly pulled units, because hopefully you have something, like, hopefully you have either like Cocoa or August or Gloria. I'm sure everyone has Ballista because it's given to you for free from the Voyager rewards. And these two units, hopefully, yeah, Angel is also given for free, but hopefully we're also able to pull the Papal Guard. Replacements for Papal Guard would, as I said, be Cocoa, or I think there was that other Union Shield guy, Tiden, I think. You can also use him. I think he might also be better because he can shield not just himself, but other people as well. But let me know what you think of this video, honestly. Like, if it doesn't help you at all, let me know, because I'm trying to make something that I think would help people do this for the first time by talking about it and giving a guide. And I think this is the best way to do it. But if you find this not helpful at all, please let me know so I can maybe try something else to help you with it. But I hope it helps, you know. Um, yeah, that's it for this video. At the end, at the bottom, as I said, I will link the other videos that I did that shows the clears, and hopefully with my instructions here, like how to do it, what you have to do, step by step, and also looking at those clears to see how I did it. Hopefully that gives you ideas to be able to do it yourself as well. And if not, let me know, and let me know like what exactly would help you to do it. Like, what do you need to see or be explained to be able to do it? That's it for this video. If you guys have questions or comments, leave them down below, and I will get back to you when I can. Take care now. Bye.